Hey everybody, I am just giving you a quick overview of our trip. I know that some people weren't able to make the little informational meeting that we had the other night, so I thought I would record this and send it out to people that are interested. So this is a beautiful picture taken by one of my students while they were on the tour last year. Quite a few of the pictures that I have here are all just taken by kids on the tour. So it was an awesome trip, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because it's going to be a lot like what we would have for our trip this coming year. All right, so this is first few pictures are just actually pictures that were off of uh, one girl's camera, and she sent it through her phone to me when I said, "Hey, send me some of your favorite pictures from the trip." This was one of the rivers that we boated up, and eventually we stayed in a place called Tortuguero, and that is a little tiny town of about 700 people, and it's only accessible by either plane or by boat. And we stayed there for a couple nights. It was just amazing. We saw all kinds of things up in the trees. Like up in here, there would be really cool birds, or there'd be sloths. There would be lizards running around on the bank, anywhere from iguanas to what they call Jesus lizards because they can walk on water. Anyway, pretty amazing display of nature there. So that was just on the first day. Um, this is one of those lizards that can walk on water. You can see how he blends in so incredibly well. Again, just taken by one of my kids. This is another picture. I have to admit, this kid was pretty good with her camera, but that was taken of a caiman that was kind of lying in the weeds. Caiman are similar to alligators. We were safely in a boat, but she was able to zoom in and get this great shot. This is one of the birds that was just sitting on a tree right outside where we were eating, and so she ran, got her camera, and took this really cool picture. So here's a picture from the last day. This one's on the Pacific side, and that was when we're all done with the trip. I think it was sunset on the last day. So let's talk about what this year's trip would be like. It's 9 days long, and overall, I'm going to talk to you about these topics. Don't want to read it all to you. If you want to pause and read that, you can. I am passionate about travel. I love to travel in my personal life, and I've been traveling ever since well, my parents took me various places, but I had a science teacher back in high school who took me on a trip, and it was just one of the things I remember most about my high school experience. And the kids could sign up for this trip, and then we went off together and stayed overnight for a few nights to do the trip, and it was just an amazing experience. So since then, I've taken groups of kids up to Wolf Ridge in northern Minnesota, and I've also taken kids out to the border with Canada on some Bonderwaters canoe area trips. And then just last year started taking this trip to Costa Rica with kids. So it really is an awesome experience. This is an overview of Costa Rica, and we fly into San Jose, go right out to a coast on that first day, and then we venture through the country and end up flying out on the other side. And this amazing shot I got from National Geographic of one of those lizards running across the water, that one my students didn't take. But let me tell you about that first day on the way to Tortuguero. Basically, then we did a whole bunch of activities after that. But just within the first day, we got on the bus and we drove through the mountains just outside of San Jose. And there's a cloud forest area, which is so cool. You're in a cloud as you're driving through. And it's a different kind of ecosystem than anything we have around here, because these forests are permanently up in the clouds. As we descended out of that, we ended up coming to the coast, and we also jumped in the boats there to go another hour and a half ride up to Tortuguero, where we saw the sloths and the poison dart frogs and sloths hanging in the trees, toucans flying overhead. We had a macaw, those colorful birds that you'll see on Hawaiian shirts, sitting up in a tree. And that was all just the first day. It was really cool. Then during this trip, there's whitewater rafting, zip lining, boat tours where you have a guide pointing out different animals up at trees and stuff. Kayaking over a sunken city at the base of a volcano seems like too much, but it's actually true. The sunken city part is because they have a hydroelectric plant where they backed up the water into that area and resettled the people, and now the area is this man-made lake, and they have vendors out there who bring you out kayaking. Um, we went snorkeling in the ocean, and we went hiking to a really old tree. I can't remember exactly how old it was, but it was incredibly huge and amazing. And this year we're adding horseback riding to the trip. So here's another picture taken by one of my students of that Tortuguero area. You can see how wide the river is at that point. This is the Caribbean side, which I expected to be warm and beautiful, and it really wasn't. It was actually cold, not super cold, but the water was colder and huge waves, so of course we didn't swim there. It wouldn't have been safe. This is that really old tree. It's so hard to imagine how big that thing is. It's so big that it took over 40 of us holding hands to wrap around the base of that tree. And it went hundreds of feet up into the air. There was monkeys swinging up in the tree, and pretty cool. Here's another shot from, all these so far have been pictures, other than the one from National Geographic, ones that my kids took. And this one is over that lake that we kayaked on. And here's the volcano when it emerged from the clouds. And it's a pretty awesome sight. It's an active volcano. This is sunset on that last day, taken by a different student. And the kids are always good at getting good shots to put on Facebook. So this is 7 students who went with me last year. And this year I think we're probably going to have a little bit bigger group. And I'm excited about the possibility of having a private tour, which would give us some advantages. So some of the main things that you're going to get out of this are, this helps kids become global citizens. It's really true. We have a shrinking world. You get a feeling when you're actually outside of the United States of what it's like to be just a citizen of the entire world. And if you've never left the United States, you kind of don't have that feeling quite the same. And I would say that this is something that is going to set kids apart, if nothing else, in their being able to understand the world as a whole. And I'd say it would give them a leg up in their future. The kids that went with me were so, you know, they took to this whole new experience with the passports, and I'd say that now they would be much more comfortable to do something like that again. The tour company, EF, is amazing. Over 50 years experience, and you can read all of this slide here, but basically it's a big, strong company that took great care of us. They had like, I think it's under 100, but in that neighborhood of people in country, in Costa Rica, who are employees, and they will help you when you have trouble. Like our bus broke down one day. We had 1 or 2 different EF employees that were from the country come over and help take care of us and get us into a different bus. And the buses are wonderful, by the way. They're coach buses, air conditioned, and really, really fun way to travel across the country. EF is accredited, and just like, you know, our high school here has accreditation, they have accreditation to deliver education, and you can earn high school credits from this experience. I apologize for going quickly, but this isn't the real demonstration or the real meeting. This is just a kind of a makeup session, so I'm going rather quickly, but of course you can pause me if you'd like to and rewind too. So all around the world, this shot may be hard to see at home, but it's basically some of the spots that they have personnel at EF around the globe. So they do have a strong commitment to safety. You can imagine that their whole business depends on bringing kids down and back safely. And so they work really hard to do that. You have a tour director with you in the entire time who is bilingual, and they're able to really help you navigate the ins and outs of the local country and bring you to places that are safe, etc. We have chaperones that are coming from, you know, from our group from Minnetonka to join and help take care of the kids. But the person who's the tour director is actually the one who decides each day exactly where we're going to go, and they do a great job of kind of keeping it all safe and moving on track. Uh, they do have a peace of mind policy, which I'm going to summarize here. Basically says if there were, for instance, to be a terrorist event to happen right before our trip was about to go, and they say, oh, it's not safe to go there, then they're going to, they have a peace of mind policy. I don't want to try to reiterate it in words here right now, but basically they're going to either get you your money back or get you on a different trip to make sure that you stay safe and don't go if it's not safe. My personal approach to safety, I kind of act like I'm the kid's dad, and I have to say no sometimes. No, that's not going to be safe. Can't let you do that. But I am going to do everything I can to keep us safe. So on a private tour, we would have our own bus, which would be awesome. We'd have a better itinerary. We can kind of tailor it to what we want to do. And so I'm really excited to try to offer a private tour this year. Our date window is Friday, March 24th or Saturday, March 25th. That's for departure. And again, it's a 9-day trip. That'll match up really nicely with Minnetonka's spring break for 2017. The travel insurance that comes with this is called the Global Travel Protection Plan. It is really handy. One of the students last year needed to use it because he was in an accident where he got hurt pretty badly, and he wasn't able to go on the trip, didn't feel like it would be safe for him, and so it was no problem. The Global Travel Protection kicked in, and they got their money back less, I believe, I think it was a $100 deductible that applied in that particular situation. So basically, the parent was happy with that, and I mean, none of us were happy to have him get injured, but at least we were happy that we had insurance to cover the plan, and that is built into the cost. WeShare is something that they have which allows people to get credits by using this WeShare. And you can do stuff before the tour and on the tour and after the tour in a project form. And this can be eligible for high school or college credit. And so that's something that would look neat on a college application, and you are welcome to pursue that if you're part of this tour. I believe for the college credit portion, you would have to pay something to get those credits, but high school credits would be something that I believe would not involve any extra cost. So what are you responsible for? In other words, what's not covered in the cost of the trip? Basically spending money. And kids, I saw kids, you know, some kids were buying lots of souvenirs and other kids were just literally spending a couple bucks a day. So you can kind of spend however much you want on spending money. We're going to teach kids how to tip, but in our particular tour, it is included in your rate. So that's something that you're not going to have to worry about is, oh, by the way, we also need money for tipping. That's covered in the cost. I will be handling the money, so there's no chance that kids, you know, would make them unsafe in any way. I'll take care of the tipping while we're on the trip. The airport baggage fees are something you'd have to pay. Let's say that you wanted to bring along an extra couple bags, which would have to be checked. The airlines, you know, let's say we're on United, they're the ones that charge that fee. That's not something that the travel company's charging, but it's something that the airlines would charge. You'd have to take care of that. I'm going to encourage kids to travel light and only use a duffel bag. We made it last year with no problems with just a duffel bag. Besides, you're going to have to carry your bags from the bus to the hotel, and there's nobody that's going to be carrying those for you. So using just one duffel bag, one big duffel bag, is probably the way to go. And the passport is also, again, on you. A lot of people already have the passport for their kids, but if you need to get one, that's going to be something that you have to pay for separately. So basically, we want to make sure that if you do decide to come on this trip, you get your passport ordered right away. It can take up to 14 weeks to process. We do have enough weeks to make that work. And last year, kids that ordered the passport got it in 2 weeks, but you just never know. We can't promise that. So if you wait too long, you probably need to expedite to your passport to get that on time. If you're not a U.S. citizen, it's going to require special stuff, but talk to us. We can sometimes still make that work. So here is the thing that you do get with the cost of the trip. And remember, again, tipping is included in this. So you get round-trip flights. And it's important to make that point because when I looked up the cost for a Disney tour, I was thinking, wow, that's not that much more than our tour. It was more than our tour. Their tour was only 6 days long, but then I realized it didn't include airfare either way. So our trip is really a good value. They did have really nice buses to get us across the country, and the hotels had private bathrooms. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner daily. Notice that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A lot of tours only pay for 2 meals a day. This is 3 meals a day, and the food was one of the things the kids raved about. There's lots of rice and beans, but there's also a lot of fruit juices that were really, really good. A lot of times fresh squeezed and just tastes amazing every day. And chicken and lots of different entrees. You can get vegetarian if you want to. Um, and we do have that tour director in there, and not just the tour director, but also licensed guides from the area. Like for instance, when we go to a national park, they'll have a guide specifically from that area that knows that national park well, so that they can give us specifics. So it's not just one guide. A lot of times we have multiple guides coming and working with us. And the local people really know their area as well. Uh, the entrance fees to select attractions, as they say, again, we're going to be zip lining, and it's a super active trip. I mean, so many cool things, and it's all covered in this. The cost to do the zip line and to pay for the tip for the guys that take care of you. The cost for the whitewater rafting, the cost for, etc. It's amazing how many things happen on this trip. And we have, We Share is included in the cost. Again, unless you want the college credits, I believe that costs a little extra. Global Travel Protection Plan, again, the insurance is covered in this. Educational itinerary, and they do give you a free tour donation page. So if you want to set up kind of like a GoFundMe page, they've got that too. So to pay for the tour, it is for students $32.10, and you can break that up into payments. Adults are more, believe it or not, $35.75, but a lot of people don't know that the adults can come. Adults are welcome to come on the trip. It just costs a little bit more because for adults, they're going to have to pay more on the airline tickets, especially because they do get special group rates because these are students normally. And so if you're paying for adults, it's going to cost a little bit more. And so, again, this is just a fantastic deal. The optional excursion adjustment, this 140 bucks that's in here, that amount is there because it includes the tipping, and it also includes the horseback riding that we added to this trip. And again, this assumes we're going to make it a private tour. If we get a big group, we can actually pay a little bit less than this. And if it's a really small group for some reason this year, then we will just join up with another group, and we won't do a private tour. But that's what we did last year. We met people from North Carolina. It was really kind of fun to get to know the people from the other group, and the kids got along really well. So it's an okay option to do a non-private tour. And again, the price would actually go down a little bit if that happened. So this is the larger amount of what's possible. So I have looked up some of the other trips that are going from our high school here. And this is actually about $1,000 less than one of the other trips that's going. One of the trips that went last year, this is about $1,500 less than one of the other trips last year. And there's a big one that's headed out. I don't want to name names, but there's a big trip that's headed out this year, and that's going to be more than $2,000 more than this trip per person. And so it's honestly, compared to many of the other trips that are available, is a great deal, and it's mostly because Costa Rica is an inexpensive place, relatively speaking, to go and get all these super active things. And again, a lot of these trips that are going to go other places, not Costa Rica, are not going to have the zip lining built in, and the whitewater rafting, and the kayaking, and the snorkeling, and this has got it all built in. So I'd say, honestly, it's a fantastic deal. You can pay 95 bucks to get your place saved because honestly, I believe we are going to run out of spots on this tour. We have 18 spots available, and the company can say, sorry, that's all we've got is 18. And we are going to take them in a first come, first serve basis. And if we hit 18 and we have more people that are interested in going, we'll start a waiting list, and we will see about trying to get more people to be able to come. But we have a school of over 3,000 kids here, so it's not unreasonable to think that those spots might sell out here soon. And basically, you have until the end of September here to get in on this pricing. The price, if you decide to risk it and go past the end of September, I don't know what the price will be, but I know it will be higher. And then eventually they're going to say, sorry, it's too late. We can't let you go anymore. I don't have the firm drop dead deadline, but I can tell you nobody wants to pay more than they have to, and so the end of September is your time. So here's how you can go. Basically, if you go to, oh, I'm sorry, this is the tour donation page, and this is basically telling you about how you can set up one of those GoFundMe pages, and you would do that through the website for EF. And here is the kind of the important how to get in. There's two easy ways. One is to pick up the phone and call 1-800-665-5364. Otherwise, you can go to eftours.com/180-483-4WY, and that's our tour. And from there, all I can tell you is I know it's an investment, but I know that every single student that went with me last year, we have gone out and had fun together since then. We went out to Lake Minnetonka, and the kids they had a great time together, and they had an amazing time in Costa Rica, and it's something that they would never forget. So I encourage you to come, and again, if you want to get signed up, go to eftours.com and slash that number, or just go to eftours.com, and on the front page they have a place to put our tour number, which is clearly at the bottom of the screen there. So thanks for watching, and I really appreciate the chance to tell you about this trip. It is going to be amazing. Come and join us.